Alright guys, how's it going? It's Emmett back with another video. As far as this one goes, I don't really have a plan. I haven't recorded in quite a while, so I'm probably going to have a little bit of camera rust. But I want to talk about, so the title is, what you see is not what you get. What do I actually mean by this? I want to talk about the difference between inputs and outputs and misconceptions or preconceptions about specific inputs that had to be had to achieve specific outputs. Now, this might sound like a load of waffle, or I might just be rambling on, so I want to explain this, dumb it down a little bit more to help you understand what I mean. So, whenever I talk about outputs, I mean results, achievements, what you've actually gotten as a result of taking particular actions, cause and effect. Okay, what is the effect that you have from specific causes? In business, the effect or the output that everybody's looking for is obviously going to be money. Let's just be honest. You're not going to do something in business if there isn't a good enough return from it. You're looking to get the best return on investment that you possibly can for your time, for your investment, your actual money that you put into something, and it needs to be profitable, okay? Because at the end of the day, number one, we have to pay our bills, but at the same time, people are selfish to an extent. They want as much material gain as they can, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that in the slightest, by the way, because I'm 100% guilty of it as well. But you're trying to make as much money as possible, get as much return as you can, which is obviously what you're going to optimize for, okay? But the point that I'm trying to make here is that you want to cater your inputs to achieve that output. You don't want to just be doing stuff that you think is going to get you to that stage, or you're going to look at something, you're going to look at a particular input and say, oh, I don't think that this is going to get me my return. Where I'm going with this is that you need to try and analyze what works to achieve that output. And the way that you analyze is typically through data, okay? Like, I mean, if you look at something like the scientific method, like this is like what the entire world has been built on. You want to achieve something, okay? You have an idea, you want to try and test it. What you do is that you come up with a theory, all right, a thesis, so to speak, and then you test your theory, see how it works. If it worked, cool, go ahead, test it some more, get it peer reviewed, have other people test it as well. And if it checks out, then cool, you've come up with something new. You've essentially achieved what you set out to. You've thought of this output that you want, this effect. You've tested the cause, you've tested the inputs, and you've found out that the inputs, they purport to the cause that you're looking to get to. And that's a big thumbs up. So we can apply this to business as well, and typically it's through data. So you want an output, okay? You want to try and make as much money as you can. Specifically in the context of this, we're going to talk about new clients for mortgage advice. You're trying to get as many clients as you can into your mortgage business, and you might be thinking, how do I do that? There's plenty of different ways that you can do it. Like, I know people will typically rely on introducers, word of mouth. Obviously everybody needs word of mouth. If you're not servicing your clients well and you don't have word of mouth, then something's wrong. You're probably not servicing them because you want people to walk away saying good things about you, and that'll always be a good stream of business for you. But it's unpredictable. It's not reliable to grow a business. You can't just rely on it alone. And if you're here with the intention of finding ways to grow your business, you're going to be looking for ideas, which I'm going to give you, by the way, don't worry, in this video. But where was I going with this? Like I said, I really don't have a plan for this video. I just want to sort of talk. But yeah, you're trying to get as many clients in as you possibly can, okay? There's loads of ways you can do it. You can use your email list, you can use social media, you can use Google, you can use ads, you can rely on introducers, you can just buy leads in from different sites. But the way that you get clients isn't going to be determined by a simple guess or just guesswork on the front end. You're not just going to say, oh, well, I'm going to buy leads because the more leads I have, the more business I'm going to get. And I'd just be like, oh, let me just make this conclusion and just say, I think I need more leads to get more clients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pursue the lead route. It makes a lot more sense for you to try things, actually analyze the data, and then make a decision based on the data that you have produced from your test. Scientific theory, okay, going back to this, specific inputs, specific outputs, analyzing this, peer reviewing it, and the larger the sample, yeah, the more that you've tested it, the more data that you have around it, then the better you can come to a conclusion on what works. But to just come forward and say, oh, I think this, so I'm going to do this, or I think this, so I'm not going to do that, or somebody coming up with an idea and you just turn around and saying, oh, I don't like that, so I'm not going to do it. whenever that idea is based on data and based on actual tests, and there is evidence there by the scientific method to prove that, then that's highly irrational. The reason that I'm making the video on this, I spoke with an individual during the week, and truth be told, I was trying to sell my service, okay? Like I said, we're in business to try and make money, and I tried to sell my service, and he said to me, Emmett, I want to grow my business. At the minute, I have a lot of self-employed advisors, and a large amount of my business revenue comes from the cut that I take from them, but they get a lot of business from estate agents as well, and I would rather that they could work for me on a full-time basis as opposed to relying so much on the estate agents. I want to supply them with more leads because I think my business might be toast if they were to essentially just jump ship, because they're maybe getting some better and more business from the estate agents because they may be paying them lower cuts. He didn't have the exact details, and he wanted to be able to supply them with leads himself. So I said to him, cool, well, we can get you the leads, we can get you the appointments, and hopefully that'll be enough business for yourself. And we had come to some sort of a deal, all of this, and we worked out the numbers, and it made perfect sense. And there was really no other option at this point. He was already sort of exhausting all potential options for generating leads, and he needed something new to work. So whenever he came to myself, the numbers worked out. But then he said, Emmett, I don't want to speak on camera because speaking on camera and those types of videos that you're telling me to do aren't what's going to drive business. People aren't interested in this, so I'm not doing it. So for me, it was just kind of the way I see this is that it's very much just a prejudice towards the whole idea of speaking on camera. I don't think that people are interested in this, so I'm not going to do it. It's the wrong approach. It goes against everything that we've just talked about. You draw conclusions on experiments. You don't draw conclusions on cognitions, or what's the word I'm looking for? Heuristics, or prejudices. You don't just think this and consider that to be true. You don't declare it to be true just based on thought or a whim. You declare it to be true based on data and proper tests and proper trial periods, and results. So to come forward and say, I don't think this is going to work, I don't like this, I don't want to do that, and as a result I'm not going to do it, despite the fact that the success of my business hinges on having the result, the output of this in place, the effect of this in place, I don't want to do the inputs because I don't like them. You can see how that doesn't necessarily match up, whereby you want to grow your business, you want to take in new clients, you want to be able to supply your advisors with enough leads so that they're inclined to stay with you, because if they're inclined to stay with you, then all of a sudden you'll be getting more cuts from the deals that they are doing, and yeah, cool, you might negotiate a smaller percentage with them, but at the end of the day, if you're getting a smaller slice of a larger pie, at the end of the day it's still going to be bigger than a larger slice of a smaller pie, so it works out all the better. But it's about having that output there in the first place. It's about having enough clients coming into the business, and you need to think of so that's the output that you're looking for, and you need to think of the inputs and the calls that need to be taken to get that effect or that output, and that's determined by data. It's not determined by misconceptions, preconceptions, or ideas that you may have about how to get there. You might think, oh, I need to buy in more leads, I need to speak to more introducers, I need to do whatever, I need to rely on my current client base, I need to offer more £100 off offers for referrals or something like that. And you might think that that's true, and you might think that maybe speaking on camera and building a connection and nurturing leads over time isn't the route. Just because you grew up without social media, you haven't yet come around to it in your own life and haven't seen the worth of it for yourself. But that doesn't necessarily just mean that it's not going to work. Like, I mean, I totally get it. Like, oh, I don't want to be on Instagram, it's a kids app, it's embarrassing. It's a dancing app, I don't want to go and do dancing or whatever. And obviously don't make my clients dance on Instagram, don't worry if anybody's watching this. But the point is that it doesn't necessarily match up. It's just a misconception about the inputs and thinking I don't want to do this, as opposed to actually analysing the back end results, as in the cost per appointment, the amount of appointments that you're doing. Does this appointment volume fit with your appointment quota? And can you reverse engineer your goals to fit this into what your plans are? So let's say, for example, You have 5 self-employed advisors. You need each of them doing 5 deals a month. You can work this out. Okay, that's 25 deals a month. What's your closing rate? Let's say it's 25%. So 25 deals a month. 1 in 4 are closing. So you need 100 appointments. 25 deals from 100 appointments. Cool. What is your lead to appointment rate? Let's say it's 50%. So 100 appointments, you need 200 leads at a 50% ABR, appointment booking rate, to get there. So all you need to do is find something that's going to get you 200 leads at a 50% appointment booking rate at a 20% close rate. And that's your goal. You don't need to think like, oh, let me go and speak to this introducer, let me go and do this, let me go and do that. You can do all those things, yeah, but if it doesn't like hit your goal, then it doesn't matter. And at the same time, if you think something doesn't work, but it does fit those numbers, and it does fit in with that plan, then why would you not do it? Just because of a misconception on the front end, despite the contradiction, with the literal solid proof on the back end of those results for yourself. If it does work to grow your business, then cool. It's something that you should be looking to pursue. If it doesn't, then you shouldn't pursue it. But that's all you should base your decisions off. You should base your decisions off data, off strong, hard, factual evidence of something working, as opposed to a misconception on it. So yeah, that's the whole point of today's video. Don't get too put off by misconceptions or preconceptions or fears or doubts or uncertainties or lack of beliefs or limiting beliefs around particular methods for generating business. Implement the reverse engineering plan. Where do you want to be in business? How many clients do you need on a monthly basis? How many appointments do you need to get those clients? How many leads do you need to get those appointments? And if something fits in with those numbers, cool, run it. But do not have your ideas and your limiting beliefs come into that. Work off of numbers, not off of heuristics, shall we say. So yeah, guys, that's everything that I wanted to talk about today. I appreciate you tuning in. Hope the camera loss wasn't too bad, but I want to try and stay as consistent as I can here, so I'd rather have came on and posted. But I appreciate you tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.